Hello and welcome to PUBG Mobile fans from around the world. I'm your host Steven, here to bring you the group draw show for the 2022 PUBG Mobile Global Championship. Our teams have fought all year for their chance to compete live on stage in Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta and prove they are the best PUBG Mobile team in the world. But before we get into the group draw, let's talk about our format. The 2022 PMGC will consist of 4 stages happening across November, December, and January. The groups we picked today will battle within their groups in the group stage from November 10th to the 27th in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The top 3 points earners from the group stage matches will qualify directly to the grand finals, while the bottom 5 will be eliminated from the tournament. The remaining teams will move on to the survival stage from November 30th to December 2nd, where they will battle in a round robin with all 3 groups to claim one of the top 16 spots and move on to the final stages of groups, the last chance. Here we will see teams fight for one of the 4 remaining spots in the grand finals on December 3rd and 4th. Then, in Jakarta, Indonesia, the 9 direct qualifiers from the group stage, along with 4 qualifiers from the last chance, will be joined by 3 special invite teams to battle over 3 days from January 6th to January 8th to claim their spot in PUBG Mobile history books as the 2022 PMGC champions and claim the lion's share of the $4 million PMGC prize pool. The first step on this incredible journey starts today with the group draw. But before we can jump into it, let's take a look at how the group draw will play out this year. Teams will be placed into pools according to their region as well as their local leagues. And from there, we will draw starting with the regional pool with the largest number of teams. That will be Southeast Asia this year, boasting 14 teams in total between PMPL Thailand, PMPL Indonesia, PMPL Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, and PMPL Vietnam. With the regional pool, we will start with the league with the largest number of teams, PMPL Thailand with 6 teams, and draw all of the league's teams into groups before drawing the next largest league pool until all teams from the SEA region are placed into groups. Then we will move on to the next region and their leagues until all teams have been placed into their groups. Here are the 48 teams participating in the 2022 PMGC group stage. We have 14 teams from Southeast Asia, 7 from Americas, 7 from Middle East and Africa, 6 teams from South Asia, 6 from Europe, 3 teams from PEL, 3 from PMPS, and 2 from PMJL. Without further ado, let's hop into our group draw. Please join me in welcoming Lexi Ma, PUBG Mobile Global Esports Manager, to draw our teams. Please step all the way over here to the left where we have our first pool of teams from Southeast Asia, PMPL Thailand. First up will be Buriram United Esports. They are qualifying as SEA Championship Fall 2022 runners-up, and they will go into our first group, into Group Red. Next up from PMPL Thailand will be TEM Entertainment. They are qualifying as 4th place from the SEA Championship Fall 2022, and they will slot into Group Yellow. As our third team to enter the group draw, it will be Bacon Time. Bacon Time is qualifying as the number 2 points earners from PMGC qualification points, and they will slot into Group Green. Next up, it will be The Infinity. The Infinity is qualifying as the number 1 PMGC qualification points earners, and they will be going into Group Red. Now will be FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan is qualifying as 3rd place from the SEA Championship Fall 2022, they will slot into Group Yellow. And finally, from PMPL Thailand, it will be Vampire Esports. Vampire Esports is qualifying as a global invite from the PMWI Championship, and they will go ahead and slot into Group Green. Next on our list will be PMPL Indonesia with 3 teams. First up from PMPL Indonesia will be Bigetron Red Aliens, and they are qualifying as the number 2 qualification points earners from PMGC or PMPL Indonesia. They will be slotting into Group Red. Next up, Genesis DOGMA GIDS. They will be slotting into Group Yellow, and they are qualifying as 8th place performers in SEA Championship Fall 2022. Finally, as our last team from PMPL Indonesia, will be EVOS REBORN. EVOS REBORN is qualifying as the number 3 points earner from PMGC qualification points from PMPL Indonesia. They will be slotting into Group Yellow, or excuse me, into Group Green. Next up will be PMPL Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines, also with 3 teams. First up will be 4 rivals, slotting into Group Red. They are qualifying as the number 2 points, PMGC points earners from Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines. Now will be Geek Fam. They are going to be moving into Group Yellow, and they are qualifying as the number 1 PMGC qualification points earners from Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines. And Yoodo Alliance. They are coming in as our 5th place team from SEA Championship Fall 2022, and they will be moving into Group Green. And now the last pool from Southeast Asia, PMPL Vietnam, with 2 teams. First up will be Box Gaming, qualifying as the number 2 points earners of PMGC qualification points from PMPL Vietnam. They will be moving into Group Red. And as our last team for SEA, it will be D Xavier, qualifying as the number 1 PMGC points earners from Vietnam. They will be moving into Group Yellow. And with that, all of our Southeast Asia teams have been drawn. Let's take a quick look at how our groups are looking so far. As the region with the next most teams, we will now be drawing from the Americas. First will be PMPL Brazil as the league with the most participating teams. First up will be INCO Gaming, qualifying as the 3rd place finishers from America's Championship Fall. And they will be moving into Group Green. Next up, Influence Chemin. They have qualified as America's Championship Fall and Spring winner, and they will be moving into Group Red. As our 3rd team from PMPL Brazil, it will be Vivo Kid. They will be moving into Group Yellow and are qualifying as the number 1 PMGC qualification points earners from Brazil. And finally, as our last team from PMPL Brazil, it will be Alpha 7. They will be moving into Group Green and are qualifying as the number 2 PMGC qualification points earners. Next on our list will be PMPL LATAM. That will be Team Queso, qualifying as 6th place from America's Championship Fall. They will be moving into Group Red. And as our 2nd team from PMPL LATAM, it will be Furious Gaming. They are qualifying as the #1 PMGC qualification points earners for Latin America and will be moving into Group Yellow. As the final league for the Americas, PMPL NA. As sole representatives, it will be Pittsburgh Knights. They are qualifying as #1 PMGC qualification points earners from North America. With that, we will go ahead and take another look at how our groups are shaping up. Moving down the line, we have the Middle East and Africa. First up is PMPL Arabia. It will be R8 Esports slotting into Group Red, and they are qualifying as the #1 PMGC qualification points earners from Arabia. Second to be drawn will be Team Falcons. They are coming in as runners-up from the Global Invite PMWI, and they will be moving into Group Yellow. As our third team from PMPL Arabia, it will be Power Esport. They are coming in as the 2022 winners of the Middle East and Africa Championship Fall 2022. And they will be moving into Group Green. Next up will be Nigma Galaxy. They're coming in as the #2 PMGC qualification points earners from PMPL Arabia. They will be moving into Group Red. As our final team from PMPL Arabia, it will be Geek Esports. They're coming in as runners-up from the Middle East and Africa Championship Fall 2022, and they will be slotting into Group Yellow. Now, on to PMPL Africa with 2 teams. 1 Million Esports. They're coming in as our #1 PMGC qualification points earners from Africa, and they will be going into Group Green. Next up is Titan Gaming. They're coming in as third place finishers from Middle East and Africa Championship, and they will be moving into Group Red. With 7 more teams drawn, let's once again take a quick look at our groups as they stand so far. With more than half of our PMGC group stage teams drawn, we moved to South Asia, starting with PMPL South Asia, of course. First up, it will be IHC Esports, coming in as the #2 PMGC qualification points earners from South Asia. They will be moving into Group Yellow. Next, from PMPL South Asia, will be Godlike Stalwart. They will be moving into Group Green, and they are coming in as the #1 points earners from South Asia for PMGC qualification points. Next up from PMPL South Asia will be DRS Gaming. They're coming in as runners-up from the South Asia Championship Fall 2022, and they will be moving into Group Red. 2 more teams for PMPL South Asia. Let's see who's next. It will be T2K Esports. They're coming in as 5th place from South Asia Championship Fall 2022. They will be moving into Group Yellow. And finally, as our last team from PMPL South Asia, it's going to be Skylights Gaming. Skylights Gaming is coming in as 3rd place finishers from South Asia Championship Fall 2022, and they will be moving into Group Green. Now, our sole representatives from PMPL Pakistan. That will be I8 Esports. They're coming in as the #1 PMGC qualification points earners from PMPL Pakistan, and they will be slotting into Group Red. With 6 more teams in the book, let's see how that changed our groups. Next on our world tour, we head to Europe, starting with PMPL Turkey. After you, Lexi. It will be Besiktas Esports as our first team drawn from Turkey, and they are the #2 PMGC qualification points earners, and they will be moving into Group Yellow. Next up from PMPL Turkey, Fire Flux Esports. They are runners-up from the European Championship Fall, and they will be slotting into Group Green. And as our final team from PMPL Turkey, it will be S2G Esports. S2G Esports is our #1 PMGC qualification points earners from PMPL Turkey. They will be going into Group Red. Next on the line is PMPL Western Europe. With 3 teams, let's go ahead and see who our first one will be. Game Lord. They're coming in as our #1 PMGC qualification points earners from Western Europe. And they will be going into Group Yellow. Next up is HVVP. They are our fall winners from the European Championship, and they will be going into Group Green. And finally, from PMPL Western Europe, it will be Mad Bulls. Mad Bulls are our 3rd place finishers from the European Championship Fall, and they will be moving into Group Red. With all of Europe now drawn into their groups, let's have another look at all 3 groups as we approach the end of our draw. Three bowls remaining, 3 regions remaining to fill out our final spots for our groups. Next up are the 3 representatives from the PMPS. DS Gaming. Coming out of the PMPS, they are our fall runners-up from the PUBG Mobile Pro Series 2022, and they will be going into Group Yellow. Next up from the PMPS will be DWG Kia, our Rivals Cup 2022 winners. They will be going into Group Green. As our final representatives of the PMPS, it is going to be M-Tech Storm X. Moving into Group Red, they are our 3rd place finishers from the PUBG Mobile Pro Series 2022 Fall. Now let's take a look at how that changes our groups. Next up is the PEL with 3 teams. The first team from the PEL will be our qualification #1, which will be the PEL qualifiers of winter, which is happening on October 30th to find out who will be our team moving into Group Yellow. Next up from the PEL, it's going to be our 2-time PMGC Championship winners, Nova Esports. They're going to be moving into Group Green. They are qualifying as runners-up from PEL Summer 2022. And as our final PEL team in the group stage, it will be LGD Gaming moving into Group Red. They are qualifying as third place from PEL Summer 2022. With only 2 teams remaining, we can now take a look at our first completed group. The final pool of our group draw, with 2 teams to fill out our last 2 spots, is the PMJL. It will be Reject. They are qualifying as PMJL Season 2 Phase 2 winners, and they will be moving into Group Yellow. And as our final team of the group draw, it will be Donuts USG rounding it out. They're going to be moving into Group Green, and with them, that will finalize the 2022 PMGC Group Stage draw. Let's take a look at our completed groups. With fan favorites BTR and Enigma Galaxy, as well as breakout performers S2G from last year and the perennial powerhouses in Infinity, Group Red is shaping up to be an interesting one. Group Green, we see some powerhouse teams like Vampire Esports are PMWI winners, as well as 2-time PMGC winners in Nova Esports, and breakout stars from last year, DWG Kia, who won the East League. Group Green is looking like potentially the group of death. In Group Yellow, with the likes of FaZe, Geek Fam, Xavier, we'll see a lot of familiar faces, as well as a new face in Team Falcons, which have a lot of eyes on them as the PMWI runners-up. That concludes the 2022 PUBG Mobile Global Championship Group Stage Draw. Thanks again to Lexi Ma for all her help in drawing the groups. Make sure to join us on November 10th for the opening day of action in Kuala Lumpur. And stay tuned for all the PMGC action, finishing with the Grand Finals in Jakarta on January 6th through 8th, where we will find out who can be the one.